Hey guys, so today I thought it would be good to do a video on how to start a horse on the cow for the first time. So that's what Jim is doing here today with this horse. This is a 2-year-old stallion that we raised. This is J-Bar Churchill, and we call him Winston. He is by our Rockin' J-Bar stud and out of J-Bar Jinx. Oh, we're losing the cow here. Alright, there we go. So when you very first start a horse on a cow, what you want to do, if you have the opportunity, is just put one cow in the pen at a time. You don't want to try to work out of a herd. Working out of a herd is way too much pressure on a horse, and you can't keep them out of the herd anyway. Your horse is not even ready to do that yet, so you don't want to stress your horse out by trying to work out of a herd. This is a way to get a horse connected to a cow, just one-on-one, and also to build their confidence. So as you can see with Jim coming down here, he was flanking the cow. He was not following directly behind the cow. He's off to the side just a little bit, but he's still trailing that cow. He's not trying to be up next to it. But that's very important because we don't want to teach our horses to chase cows. We want them to work cows like a cutter. But I will say this, in my opinion, I think every horse that's going to do anything with cows needs to be started this way. I think ropers, team penners, range cow horse, even ranch horses if you have the chance to do this. This is an excellent way to start all cow horses. In my opinion, maybe not everybody's going to agree with me on that, but I'll explain why. So sometimes people will try to just mimic the end results. Like, let's say they just want their horse to be a team penner, and so they'll just go out there and pretend like they're team penning. And what that does is you're lacking a foundation. This puts an incredible foundation on a horse. So what Jim is doing is when that cow stops or changes direction, he stops his horse, and he has a release there, a moment of release. Both physically and mentally, where the pressure is taken off of him mentally for just a moment, and then he also is physically gathering himself and working off of his hind end. So for example, going back to the team penning situation, if somebody said, well, I don't want my horse to stop, I want them to chase that cow and put it in the pen or sort it out or whatever, you can always go to that later, but you'll be very glad that you have this foundation on them. Most horses, not all, some of the really top-end bred cutting horses have a lot of natural draw, but I still think even in cutting horses, most horses have a tendency to want to go towards the cow or chase the cow anyway. And if you teach them from day one just to chase the cow and to not work off of their hind end, what happens is when things get sloppy or things get wild or your horse is getting too aggressive and you say, whoa, get back here and get on your back end, they say, no way. They say, what are you doing? Why are you fighting with me? Why are you trying to hold me back? A lot of horses get mad or frustrated if they haven't had this foundation. But if you have this foundation where the first thing you taught them was release that cow, get on your hind end, you can always go back to that when you need it, and your horse will be like, oh yeah, okay, I remember this. And you can correct them. So that is why I feel like every horse that you start on cows needs to be started this way. I'm also going to tell you something about releasing the cow and then going back to it. So there Jim released it and then reined his horse back up to it. It's a little bit almost like approach and retreat. And what that does is it builds your horse's confidence, one, because he, like we talked about, has a moment of a mental break, a mental release. And two, sorry, cow's out of view here. What you're creating in your horse is a hunting instinct. So if all you do is run your horse around like mad and keep him hooked up constantly, he's just kind of, it can kind of just give him almost like a brain buzz. But if you teach him, stop, now go find that cow. Stop, now go find that cow. What happens is, so for example, in the cutting pen, eventually, even the best horses in the world, eventually a cow is going to like fake them out, like throw their head one way and then end up going the other way. Something's going to happen eventually where that horse is out of position. But if that horse has been taught, release, go find, release, go find. Okay, Jim's done working this cow, but I'm going to keep talking for a minute. What that does is it really teaches your horse to find the cow, to hunt the cow, to get back in the position so he's not scared. When you're showing your horse and there's a mistake and all of a sudden he finds himself out of position, he knows it's okay. All I have to do is go hunt that cow, go find that position again. So the release, go hunt the cow, release, go hunt the cow actually makes them very cowy and very cow smart. And like I said, it builds a lot of confidence. So again, that Jim is not chasing that cow. I think you guys can see he's off to the flank. So he's not tracking the cow directly behind him. He's always off to the side just a little bit. And this horse did really well. You know, he's bred to do this. And actually, this is not our place, and this is actually this horse's first time in this barn as well. But you can tell he's curious, he's confident. If your horse is really scared of the cow, just keep a little bit more distance. You don't have to get super close. Just you can work the cow from a distance. Just keep it in the horse's vision. Keep his nose pointed up to it. Keep him connected mentally, even if he's not super close to it physically. But this horse did about as perfect as you can do starting out. He's a nice colt. All right, so I hope that gives you guys some ideas on how to get started. And I'll probably be doing some more videos about working cows in the near future, so stay tuned.